Google finally officially unveiled the Pixel 4 and 4 XL, their new smartphone, and I'm excited about them. So are Florence and Duncan Jaffrey from Osdroid.net. They actually have them in hand, and on this week's episode of All About Android, they showed them off for you in this first look that's coming up next.
This is Twit.
This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by Plex. Plex is offering Twit listeners a 30-day free trial of Plex Pass. Go to plex.tv/twit, code TWIT to start your free trial today.
Here it is, and I'm going to turn it on. Hopefully it's slightly charged. It's kind of freaky. Oh, yep, these things come charged. Oop, it's really bright.
It's really bright, yeah, by default. Okay, so you got the 4. I ordered the XL in white. I did not get the orange version. It appears you have the white. Okay. Duncan, you somehow got the orange version. Tell me, in person, does the orange look nice? Or because I'm not sold on it.
We've got an XL and a standard here. Some people are going to love it. Yeah. I can't say that it's me, but I also have to admit to being a boring black slab of glass man myself.
Okay.
So, but look, it's distinctive.
It is.
If someone sees that, they're going to notice it's different.
Okay. All right. Well, it definitely does stand out, and it is a limited edition. You can only get it in the 64 gig configuration right now. Maybe 128 gigs will follow down the line. But since we're actually looking at these devices, just to kind of fill people in, if they haven't already been following the mountains upon mountains of leaks that make this probably the most leaked phone in the history of smartphones. The Pixel 4 5.7-inch 1080p display, the Pixel 4 XL with a 6.3-inch Quad HD Plus display, the Pixel 4 with a 2800 milliamp hour battery, and my goodness, that is a small battery for a premium smartphone. I don't know how I feel about that. So I guess time will tell as far as like whether that's enough. 3,700 milliamp hour battery for the 6.3-inch version. And otherwise, both models are identical to each other from what I understand. Both have the dynamic 90 hertz refresh rate, HDR certified display, 19:9 aspect ratio. Both have the Soli radar, which is the radar up top for motion sense. That's the air gestures sort of thing, even though they don't call it air gestures. I think that's a Samsung terminology, but Google's calling it motion sense for waving your hand in order to mute a phone that's ringing or skip tracks, that sort of stuff on your music player.
I brought a demo of that to the show today.
Did you? Okay.
I did.
So how do we see this?
So it should be in the Google Drive folder.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot to upload the Pikachu one. Never mind.
Oh, no Pikachu
I'm terrible.
one. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Google kind of talked about that a little bit, or rather 9to5 Google did when they leaked this like a week ago, that there would be a game. Is it pre-installed on the device, or is it as like a demonstration of Soli?
It's a demonstration, and thus far, all I could get Pikachu to do was wave hi to me and blow me a kiss.
Okay.
So that's kind of the extent of it. I brought some shaky B-roll of the different, just the different sizes and colors. The orange is, by the way, in person, it's a very Halloween orange.
Oh, okay.
So it's very, like, you know what I mean? Like, like when you buy a pumpkin to go trick-or-treating, like the little plastic pumpkin, it's sort of akin to that.
Man, you're not selling me on this orange.
It's not bad in person. I mean, it's too bad you're not really getting it from my shots, but I mean, I agree with Duncan. The black one has this really nice like sheen to it that is definitely, it's not like matte on the back the way that the white and the orange ones are.
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't know, it's a new design paradigm, and I think I am going to have to get used to it because I really liked the Pixel 3. So, I mean, and the Pixel 3a, like.
Well, and this is the first time in the Pixel phones where Google is stepping away from the kind of like the two-toned design, which actually on my 3XL, it's kind of hard to show because it's all white, but you can kind of see the two-tone, the like shimmery glass, smooth glass up top, kind of frosted glass below. That's been like the signature design on the back of the Pixel line since it launched, and now they're going obviously in a very different direction. And that design language is traveling over to some of their other devices, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you like this device, like in person after seeing it leaked all over the place, up and down. Duncan, finally having it in your hands and being able to use it. Like, what strikes you about the design?
I think it's exactly what we'd expect. One, based on the iteration of the Pixel 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, the rumors that we've seen. So it's familiar. It's what I expected. It's got the good hand feel, as people like to say. There's a nice heft to it.
Yeah.
Just bouncing between the twos. Obviously, the smaller one is slightly lighter. The display is quite nice. We have actually noticed that there's different color tone between the two displays when we turn them on side by side.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see if there's anything that comes from that beyond the Wi-Fi setup screen, which is as far as we've got thus far. They're using the cameras in the demo area. The night side is greatly improved, and the starlight photography is out of this world. They had a great little tent set up, which went into a dark room with all of these fairy lights hidden behind glass and mirrors, kind of as like standing in the stars. And the photo that came out of that compared to a night sight on a Pixel 3 was just night and day, pun intended. So look, it's where Google needs to be. It's a really nice move forwards. I think partly because of the leaks, there's nothing really about the hardware that's grabbed me today, because I've seen it so often. But some of the software things they're doing are fantastic, especially with the new assistant, the neural core on the device itself, helping you to speed up Google Assistant, get more out of the device. It seems to have the continued conversation now on the device powered by the neural core. So you can start an engagement with the assistant on your Pixel 4 and just keep going. So you can say, show me my photos of Spain. Who's the ones at night? Please send that to Brian, for instance. And the Pixel assistant will just walk you through that. And it's hard to tell how much of that is the new assistant experience that will roll out in the future to everyone, and slightly slower in Australia, and how much of that is going to need that neural core. And they didn't really elaborate, but they did say some of the new assistant features on the Pixel and other devices are going to be hardware dependent. But it's a great move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, the Pixel 4 is kind of is the launch device for the next second generation assistant software. Assistant's been around for a while now, so now we're seeing an official second generation launch. That hits with the Pixel 4 to start off with, and like they said, 10 times faster. Much of that happening on the device, which they even hinted at, back at Google I/O earlier this year. That would be one of the key differentiators of the Pixel 4, and what it brings is that on-device computational capability. So definitely looks cool there. We mentioned the Soli radar for motion sense. They also mentioned that it has the fastest secure face unlock on a smartphone. That being because when you reach your hand towards the phone, the Soli radar will detect that and fire up the sensors needed for when it hits your face, instead of having to do it like, pull it up to your face, power it to turn it on, and then that unlocks it. It should be one continuous motion. Have either of you noticed that in as far as, or set that up yet at this point?
Nope. No. I did get to play with the assistant earlier that we were talking about, and that was fast, but it was all kind of like the same demos being shown throughout. Yeah. But as far as that goes, I feel like that stuff I wasn't super impressed with motion sense just from using the demos. Okay. Like it took me a while to get Pikachu to wave back at me, and to kind of understand what to do. Yeah. And I actually went into the settings to kind of see what motion sense was about, and it's super limited at present. It's not a robust feature. It's not like you can go in and set all these things up. It's just to make it a little easier. So, you can, go through tracks in a playlist, or, you can, I guess, turn on the phone, but it's such a subtle thing. This is really the thing that has to be tested in the real world. Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it, Duncan. It feels alpha.
Well, I feel like saying that it feels alpha is actually really critical. Like that's a critical statement. I feel like which I'm not pushing back on it at all. I've not used it, but saying it's alpha makes me think that it just like it's a poor execution right out of the gate. Would you?
Limited,
not poor.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we were doing the music demo. The first thing I wanted to do was stop the music. And what would you do with a device like that? I tried this. Nothing. So it seemed to only respond to a swipe that way or a swipe that way. Now it responded each time, every time. It was reliable. It did the same thing when I did that. But that seemed to be it. Swipe left, swipe right. Now that's good if you're Mr. Miyagi, but I was looking for a little bit more.
Yeah. We should all.
That's a great
aspire
point.
to be Mr. Miyagi.
Yes, but Mr. Miyagi also knew when to put a stop to the violence. And somebody had a country music playlist on at the demo today, and there was no way to stop.
Mr. Miyagi couldn't help then. What is going on, Mr. Miyagi?
And Duncan's right. I was going like this. I was like, stop. And it would not stop. And so I was like, what the heck? So I went into the settings and I'm like, there's nothing here. It's just 2-3 options. And okay, that's cool.
It does what it does well. Google doesn't say it does anything other than that. So it's not that it's a poor execution. It's, I don't know what I imagined. And look, the person doing the demo quite rightly pointed out, we're dealing with radar here.
Yeah.
And I think what I was looking for was optical. But what I would say is there's a front-facing camera on there. They obviously know how to do it because they've done it in the Nest Hub Max, whatever they call that thing. And so maybe a hybrid approach where they're using the camera solely detects you. So, people who speak normal language within 60 centimeters of the device, solely will be activated. So it'll know you're there. It'll start kicking off the processors and start detecting things. So you get within 60 centimeters, it turns on that front-facing camera maybe. It sees your hand and the stop motion. It sees there's nothing else, and they bring all that together. That's supposed to be what Google's good at. And that's what I mean by alpha. Is I think they're going to add to this probably in the lifetime of the Pixel 4. Based on feedback, based on the data they get, and I think it will be better.
Yeah, okay, that explains it better. I think when I heard alpha, I was like, man, this thing must never work, because I think of some of the things that have felt very alpha that Google releases, and it's like, all right, this is way before it should be released. Google definitely thinks that this should be released now, so it better work out of the gate. So at least it's working. It's just a limited feature set. And I would completely agree. That was my worry going in, is here's this most amazing technology that Google's been working on that's very different from everything else in the market right now, and it launches with like 5 control features, a couple of those dedicated only to music apps. And it's like, I feel like there's so much more potential for more than that. Maybe at some point they open it up to developers, and developers can choose to do some interesting things with that. I guess that remains to be seen, but that would be the future of this solely radar technology that I'm really curious to see down the line, is what are creative uses for it that make you go, okay, that's neat, but that's like amazing, and I haven't seen that yet.
But if you say to me, should they take it out? 100% no. Okay. This is Google. This is what they do. This is exactly what I would want from Google. So this isn't a criticism, it's hope. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Now let's see here. So we talked about the on-device processing, the on-device language hybrid model, which is going to help with the assistant. One thing we haven't really touched on are the cameras, which are another big feature here. And this is the first, right? Yeah, I had to check for a second to be like, wait a minute, were there dual cameras on the other one? No, there haven't been, which is kind of remarkable considering how amazing the cameras on the previous Pixels have been. They've been capable of doing so much. Now with the Pixel 4 and 4 XL, you get the two sensors, a main 12.2 megapixel sensor with optical image stabilization, f1.7 aperture, and then a telephoto 16 megapixel with optical image stabilization, f2.4 aperture. And I saw some pictures earlier. I think it was Android Police posted an article of an example of the super zoom that's happening on the sucker, and it's really, I mean, they've really improved that even more, to the point to where an 8x zoom, and I'm sorry I don't have the link in the doc, but an 8x zoom is just like, wow, that's like perfectly usable. I mean, it looked really good. This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by Plex. Plex brings together all the media that matters to you in a single app on any device, no matter where you are. You can organize and stream your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, and more, as well as enjoy live TV and DVR all for free. Plex is offering Twit listeners a 30-day free trial of Plex Pass, which gives you access to all their premium features. Go to plex.tv/twit and enter code TWIT to start your free trial of Plex Pass today. That's plex.tv/twit.
I'm also very curious about the new night sight, just the ability to shoot those starry photos. Because Jason, you and I, we love to camp. We love to go out into the woods.
Yep.
And I would love to not have to carry gear with me besides my phone on airplane mode. That's kind of how I like to be out in the wilderness.
Yep.
I just want ebooks, music, and the camera to kind of shoot, being out where we are. And I would love to be able to just do those shots at night and take the starry sky. And I'm really looking forward to trying that out. And I'm also tomorrow morning, hopefully when I leave for the airport, I'm going to try and see how this thing works at dawn, because they had mentioned, the night sight, you want to get creative with it. And I really like that was part of the presentation, because I think, and I know Annie Leibovitz was up there talking about that. Which, by the way, was kind of cool to see Annie Leibovitz in person. I just want to say, I wanted to talk to her about her Demi Moore photo shoot of the early 90s, but unfortunately, she was not taking questions from the crowd. That's okay.
Just one question on Demi Moore. No.
Just one question. Will you shoot me? No, just kidding.
Right. Yeah, take a selfie of me, please. Although that's not really a selfie, but anyways.
Yeah, true. But I was just kind of impressed to hear that it really is just kind of about how much legwork you put into the smartphone, and it's not so much anymore about, because smartphones are so good. And with the Pixels, the Pixel 3 was really good at dawn photos, the sunrise, that was a thing that we don't really think about when we talk about night sight, because you think, it goes at night. But when night turns into day, that's another time when you want to kind of take out the camera. So I'm just really excited to I want to put these things on a dual rig and just go out and see how different they are.
Heck yeah. Super excited about the astrophotography capabilities of this.
And a shadow slider.
Yeah. Okay,
Sorry.
so that's another aspect of this. So a lot of improvements here. Live HDR plus, basically an approximation of what HDR is going to look like when you're looking through the viewfinder. That's really neat. Now, instead of taking the picture and then looking at it later and being like, okay, the details in the window aren't totally blown out, you can actually see a preview of that. And like I said, it's an approximation. It's not exactly what you're going to get, but it gives you an idea of what you're going to get. So I'm looking forward to that. Dual exposure controls is what you were talking about. Brightness and shadows. There are two sliders that will appear in the camera interface by default, I think. And Ant Pruitt and I were covering the live show this morning here for Twit Live News, and we were wondering how confusing those controls might be for a photography newbie, for someone who just gets the but I have a feeling it's simple enough, right? It's two sliders. Someone who's never used those kinds of controls before, they're going to reach for it at some point and move them around and go, oh, that was cool. It made the shadows look a little brighter, and I can actually see the faces now. So I'm curious to see how much of a difference that'll make.
Yeah.
It was. I had a hands-on with the start astrophotography in the experience booth, and it was amazing. It takes night sight to the next level, and they had a camera where they'd taken some photos last night in and around the area, and it's amazing how it combines night sight and the astrophotography, so that the ground level is like a night sight, a night shot photography. So you can see all the buildings and everything around, but then the sky is perfect. With all the stars and all of the fuzz that are normally in the image is just gone, and it really was as impressive as the demos they showed.
Yeah.
And we recognized the landmarks. So these were taken date stamped last night.
Wow. That is awesome. I mean, night sight is just such a wonderful feature, and I use it all the time, and I love it. Also going to get learning-based white balance, so automatic white balance, machine learning based. So It can detect, one of the examples they used was, and I've totally been in this exact situation, go to an aquarium and you take a picture of someone and their face is the color of the aquarium because of the light shining through it and everything. Suddenly their face is blue. Well, the machine learning algorithm, the training that's been done there enough times recognizes that, hey, that's a human face. Faces aren't blue. Faces are usually this color, and makes the adjustments to automatically and dynamically adjust white balance in a scenario like that, just as one example. And make it so it's balanced appropriately. And I think that's just something that most people would appreciate if they even knew it was happening, but they probably won't, because their picture will just look good right out of the box and be like, hey, that's a great photo. They won't know what happened in order to make it great.
Mm-hmm. It's a risky feature, though.
Could be, yeah.
Many skin tones, and also to get someone's skin tone incorrect because of the sample size of what they've programmed it with, and we've seen Google have a couple of mistakes with that, and several of these AI-based image recognition systems have trouble with that. So I really hope they've tested that well, because I don't wish them ill.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I hope
that gorillas and all of those things. So let's hope that it gets those balances right.
Totally, 100%. And I have faith at this point that Google's really good at its machine learning, stuff. I mean, its photos are built on the foundation of it at this point. So, crossing my fingers that it plays out the way I think it will. Probably, they say a wider range portrait mode with SLR bokeh, so that's good. And that's the cameras. They also mentioned the recorder app, which we showed off on the show a few weeks back, because 9 to 5 Google and their avalanche of leaks about this device and
everything.
Actually,
I think that was XDA.
Or was it XDA? Okay.
Hard to keep track. That was when Michelle was on the show.
That's right.
Just want to give props.
No. I appreciate that. It was XDA. Now, just on that tip, I will say I was gone. Last week we were in Victoria, British Columbia, visiting my wife's grandma, who's turning 95. And while we were there, my wife mentioned, I really want our kids to interview my grandma and stuff. And I was like, I've got the best app for it. And so we totally used it, and it's amazing. Especially because I will say, her grandma has a very thick, I don't know if it's an East Coast Canadian accent or if it's from Victoria, but she has a definite accent that can be kind of somewhat difficult at times to understand. And this thing did an amazing job, and it's all searchable. It was like, this is what this app was made for. And I just never knew that I needed this app until suddenly Google made it. So it's really cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. White, black, and orange, of course. Pre-ordering today, begins today. Shipping starts October 24th. But if you're pre-ordering now, you're not getting it until later. You needed to get in early in order to get it that soon. The Pixel 4, the smaller version, starts at $799. The Pixel 4 XL starts at $899. I didn't actually look at a confirmed price on the top of the line Pixel 4 XL. Is it $999 for 128 gig? I'm assuming it probably is.
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably $100 more.
It's a lot as it is anyway.
So you're $1 shy of $1,000 mark on a Pixel phone, and some people would say, I don't know that Google is justifying that cost.
I know.
I don't know that they are either. I don't know that any company is justifying $1,000 for a smartphone. But Google wants to be seen on that level. They want to be seen with their smartphone being as premium as anything else on the market. Duncan, do you feel like Google has justified their desire to be seen in the top tier?
There's a lot of division in the Osdrawing team. I'm firmly in the camp of high-end smartphones don't always deliver value for money. One of my phones is a Pixel 3A. It's fantastic. It comes in at 2/3 of the price. It doesn't deliver 2/3 of the experience. It has almost everything you could want.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting if a 4A comes out and what value that shows. You certainly get a little extra for your money. I feel that they jack the prices up. So, in Australian dollars, it starts at $1,049 with a 64 gig, 5.7-inch model and goes all the way.
Wow.
all the way up to 1,429 for the 128 gig Pixel 4 XL. Now, those prices, I've just been told from my colleague on the side, is that it's actually slightly lower in Australia than last year's pricing.
Oh,
so
really?
That's good for us to get. Maybe the dollar's strong at the moment, but they are certainly premium devices, but you are paying a premium. And for those who want to, great. You need these options. I just do feel that at that end of the market, there's just a wee bit of price gouging going on.
Just a little bit. Interesting. Okay. A few random tidbits here that I'll throw in. No buds in the box, no earbuds in the box, no USB-C to, headphone, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack converter in the box. No more original quality uploads to Google Photos. Remember the original Pixel? This was one of the major features was that when you have the Pixel, your photos upload in original quality. You're not getting that here. They're not What's that?
Sorry, I'm laughing. We ran out of room.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We can't fire up any more servers. I'm sorry. We're not made of money. We're just Google. They're not launching in India due to failing to secure permission to use the frequency range with the Soli radar. And in fact, Soli only works in countries that it's certified in. So if you happen to travel to an uncertified country, that radar gets disabled while you're there.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And also just failing to secure the permission to use it in India is which prevents the phone from launching in that country.
Giant market, yes.
That giant market that Google has said time and time again it's really focused on. Like, that's a big fail.
Yes.
The Soli radar data stays on the device. The enhanced night sight is coming to the 3 and the 3A eventually. I don't know when that's happening. Live caption is exclusive to the 4 at launch, but then coming to the 3 and the 3A in December. And these phones are not compatible with Daydream VR because Daydream VR is no longer a thing. It has been canceled.
I have one small correction.
Oh, okay, cool. Correct me.
Earbuds are country dependent.
Oh, no way.
Oh.
So you guys were asking last week what would happen in markets that mandated that they have to have them. They'll get them.
Okay, and I was out last week, so I didn't catch that. I didn't know that was a mandate in certain countries. That's
Me
interesting.
either.
That is really interesting. Okay. All right. So then, depending on your market, you might get buds in the box, but you're not going to get what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, I was about to say. Good segue.
But the Pixel 4, 4XL, I'm very, very excited to get mine. And I think I'm getting mine Leo's gone. Leo and Lisa leave for like a month. His come while he's gone on like the 25th. So in a couple of weeks. And I think I'm going to get my hands on that, be able to do the review and everything while Leo's gone. So I'll take good care of it.
Keep up with all the hottest tech news and gadgets. Visit twit.tv. There you'll be able to find and subscribe to all our tech shows. Thanks for watching Hands on Tech.